Okay, so we have already seen the parametric estimation, provided that one density, we assume the density was known to you, and except for the values of parameters, and you applied maximum likelihood estimation and the Bayesian estimation to techniques to estimate the parameters. Now here we use that in our case that we do not know the any functional form of the density functions, but still you have to estimate this. Means while you are going to apply classification, suppose if you apply the Bayes decision rule, then how do you estimate the density uh, for classification purposes? So that's why it is called the non-parametric classification. Okay, firstly we'll see. Firstly, you need to estimate the density function. We apply some techniques, then we apply, after estimating the density, then you plug in the density into Bayes decisions rule for classification purposes. Okay, so now we have seen that there are several density estimation technique. So one is called, you can apply this, uh, that is an histogram method. Next we'll have the Pargen window, another is called the nearest neighbor method. So Pargen window is nothing but there is a kernel density estimation. So that's why it is called this Pargen window. So we'll talk about it, all these things. That is a kernel density estimation is known as this Parzen window, and there is another technique we'll have. There is a nearest neighbor estimation technique. Okay, so all of you must have heard about this K nearest neighbor rule. Okay, so K nearest neighbor rule, from the nearest neighbor estimation rule, that it will come. So all sort of mathematics will be done. So basic background will have some mathematics. Okay, so now so far what you have seen, that whenever you are going to use supervised learning, because everything that I am teaching you in the supervised classification, not unsupervised. So now in supervised learning, so we are having some assumptions in the form that whenever you are going to apply some supervised classification, that the underlying density functions were known to you. Okay, and in most of the machine learning applications, so one common practice people used to follow, that a common parametric forms rarely fit the density. Okay, a common parametric form, it rarely fits a density. Okay, and all the classical I mean parametric density are unimodal, that we are assuming, but in real life application, so it is that this density is not a unimodal. So now when you have a unimodal, so if you assuming that in all classical problems your density is unimodal, it means you are going to have only single local maximum. Okay, and multimodal means you have more than one maximum, then you attract some difficulties to solve this type of problem. Okay, but whereas in practical problems it involves multimodal density, and but we have already seen parametric estimations, means that you have already done it by using ML and Bayesian estimation. But in non-parametric procedures, okay, so we'll emphasize in this chapter that we'll emphasize a non-parametric procedures which can be used with arbitrary distribution. So any arbitrary distribution. Okay, it may be a Gaussian, it may be exponential, it may be beta, it may be gamma. Okay, any arbitrary distribution, and without the assumption that the any form of the underlying density is unknown, that I already told you. So you do not have the any functional form of your, so suppose you have a data x. Okay, x is a feature value in the feature space, but you do not know the functional value of this x. But from the data you have to estimate it. So there is a process for estimating the density. Actually, in classical physics things, what do you mean by density? So in physics, so what is the formula for the density? Can anyone just tell me? Density का formula क्या है?
Mass divided by volume.
Very good. So density actually it is a mass by volume, m by v, isn't it? So m by v, it is kind of the probability that you are going to have. So when you are going to compute this probability, then that this number of points occurring in that event divided by total number of points. So now if you just consider the feature space, this feature space, it is a volume V. If it can be considered as a sphere, it can be considered as a hypercube, it can be considered as a cube. Okay, now that how many points, total number of points is there into this cube? I mean, how many total number of points that consider this cube or hypercube? Okay, and that how many points are used, okay, to get the functional form, where that for each interval, in small interval, the functions will be very constant. That's why it is a mass by volume. So it is called density. So this concept was previously used, and I think all of you know the method is called the histogram. Okay, all of you know the meaning of the histogram. So for that, in the histogram method, so it is a one method that was used previously to compute this density. So the histogram method is one of the good method that people used to have to compute the density. So we'll also see this today by the histogram method. Using this histogram method, you could compute the density. Okay, means the bins are there, histogram bins in a rectangular bins are there, and suppose you have some data points and in the feature space, then you have to compute this histogram. Okay, it is just a just a probability that you are going to compute. So in each bin, that how many that points will be there. Now if you just divide this x-axis in the different constant interval, okay, and then you just have the in the y-axis you have this density values, okay, then you just plot it, then you will have one histogram bins. Now over the histogram bins, that whatever density that you have computed by the formula mass by volume, then you will have one envelope over the histogram bin. Now if the envelope fits approximate, means because it cannot get this actual function, you will have to have the approximated function. If the actual function is close to the approximated function, okay, then you can have your fitting is good. So these are the method that people were using in the previous early days, but in the histogram method there also will have some disadvantage that we'll see. Okay, so this is just try to give you the idea, the method of the estimating the density. So density actually a mass by volume. So from this concept that we'll establish this formula. So now there are two different types of non-parametric methods are there. Okay, we'll see that first one that it will follow some procedures for estimating the density function. So now density means small px given wi. If you are going to consider as a non-parametric classification, then you have to estimating density function small p x given wi from the sample patterns. Okay, and if the estimates are satisfactory, then it can be substituted for the true density that I already told you, approximated. Actually, you'll have to approximate this density, and if the approximated density is close to the actual density, then it can be used for designing the classifier. This is one way of doing this thing. Another way of doing these things is that you can apply some procedures for directly estimating a posteriori probability. Okay, means you are just bypassing the probability and you are just plugging to this in a posteriori probability. That is, what is the formula for the posterior probability? Capital Pwj given x. Okay, so this is the posterior probability formula, and if this is close to the if this is closely related to the non-parametric design procedures such as this nearest neighbor rule. So these things that we'll be seeing in the second portion is called the nearest neighbor rule. Okay, then you can just bypass the probability estimation and you can directly put to get the decision function. So that is the things that we'll be talking about. There is a two types of non-parametric estimation that you can have. So now firstly we'll see that if you take a one-dimensional case, now how we are going to have. So basic idea is this thing, that probability that a vector x fall in the region. So before that, I just wanted to tell you about this. If you take this one-dimensional case, okay, now I'm just going to write something so that you will understand. Suppose if we take one-dimensional case, Can you okay, can you see my typing?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, yes.
Now it is visible now. Now samples are given. Okay, so now these samples are, if I going to take this like this xi, suppose I'm going to take if I'm going to take xi, okay, and where I is equal to 1, 2, these are the observations. Okay. Okay. Now what you have to do? We need to find density function, that is fx. Okay. And we do not know I mean functional form of f. Okay, suppose suppose samples are given xi, that is I is equal to 1 to n if you have the n observations. Okay, so I think I should give a little bit of zooming so that it will be visible to you. Okay, now it is visible clearly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we need to find the density function fx, and we do not know this functional form of f, that I was already told you. Now what idea that you are going to apply? We are going to apply simple idea. Okay, simple idea to learn a piecewise constant approximation. Okay, AIE piecewise constant constant approximation. Okay, now how do you do it? Piecewise constant approximation. Anyone? So you because you need to find the density function fx where you do not know what is the functional form of f. Now we are going to apply some simple idea to learn a piecewise constant approximation. Now in this case, first to get it, first we cut x-axis. So this is one method that I am telling. You cut x-axis into small intervals. Okay, and build a function. Okay, that is if that is constant in each of the interval. Yes, so that is the way. You first cut the x-axis. Suppose you have a feature vector in r-dimensional or d-dimensional feature space, and you cut the x-axis into very small intervals, because we are going to have some histogram method. You cut x-axis in small intervals and you just build a function. Okay, if it is constant, if the function which is a constant in each of the interval, I mean if the functional value if it is constant in each of the intervals, okay, and that is I mean you have to build a function and that is constant in each of the intervals. And if I'm going to take fx is equal to k over an interval, that is a comma b, then probability of a less than is equal to x less than is equal to b, nothing but k into b minus a. So I think you have seen all these things in your in your integration part, na? So if you find a definite integral, so we are going to have some definite integral in the range of a to b, and we are going to have the upper rectangle and the lower rectangle. So this way that you can find out that is a you can find a piecewise I mean constant approximations of f, and for each interval, suppose you have a range from a to b, and within the range a to b, if you find some values in the range of the a to b, and for each value which are going to have the constant and which falls under this region, then there obviously this function is going to be approximated. So it is just going to have this probability of a, I mean x is in the range of a to b, then you have the k into b minus a. So these are the things. So actually it is the probability. Actually it is the probability PRO BA right here. So actually this is the probability above. It's the probability above is well approximated, okay, by the function, okay, of data points, by the function of data points which fall in that interval. Okay, so now thus we can approximate it f by the histogram of data. Actually it is an histogram. Okay, so these are the way that these people are using. If you have this in a single dimensional case, okay, then you can do it. I mean in this way. So you can just approximate it these things in the way. Okay, I mean you have the functional form, and this functional form, if you somehow manage to have the functional form from this data, and if the functional form are constant, function value is constant for each interval, okay, then this can be approximated, and f by this methods, and this method is called the histogram of this data. Okay, so this is a very simple things, I mean simple way of doing these things, how you are going to have the piecewise approximation of a function. So these are the way you just cut the x-axis in this small interval and build a function which is constant in each of the interval. Okay, and if the probability is well approximated by the function, how we are going to find this probability? So these are the mass by volume, actually the formula, and you can easily approximate it. So now here, how you're going to have, you have a region R. Now these are the basic idea that people are using. You have a region R like this, that let R be a region. So this region can be a sphere. So you can consider this region as a sphere, or you can have the sphere of some small radius, okay, with some centroid x, okay, that you can have, that you have considered in this way. Now that the most fundamental techniques that you can have that probability P. Now you are going to compute this probability P, or you can simply write the rho. Okay, now capital P, or how we are going to have this probability if you consider a sphere. Okay, and where in this sphere there is some small radius you have around x. So x is a feature vector in this case. Now this probability that you are going to compute, that the probability P that a vector x will fall in the region is given by this P is equal to px dash into dx dash. So now this px dash into dx dash, it is a functional form, approximated form. Now if somehow you have to manage this functional form, this approximate function is going to same as this px. Okay, somehow you have to manage it, then obviously these things will be approximated. So these are the way that is people are using. And if you have a very smooth curve, okay, now if this p is a smooth or average version of the density function px, okay, then you have a sample of size n, therefore the probability that k points fall in this region are this formula. We are going to have one binomial distribution, that is a nck pk 1 minus p to the power n minus k, and the expected value for k is ek is equal to n into p. So actually what you are going to have, that means you have to have a, you're assuming that this the probability, you are trying to compute a probability that a vector x fall into this region R, and it can be approximated using this thing. Now I'm just going to write over here to, so that you will be, it will be more clear to you. Yes. Okay. So now let R be region REGION. Okay. So it may be a sphere. SPE. What is the meaning of sphere? SPE. Okay. Sphere of some small radius around x. Okay, so x is a feature vector, and let you have rho. Let me take it as a. Now I'm going to have what is rho is. Okay, now I'm going to have rho is equal to integration of okay, so now I am taking R is a region where small p, okay, small p, then you have x prime, that is then you have d, you have x. Okay, so now it means that let R be the region. It is, you can consider as a there is a sphere of some radius around this. Now you have a rho is equal to, it is just a probability. So rho actually it is a probability, that the probability that this feature vector x which fall in this particular region, which is given by is simply R px dash into dx dash. Okay. Next is that if you consider if p is nearly constant over R. Now if small p, I mean this density function, okay, if p is nearly constant, so you just take the piecewise approximation term that we have already discussed. Constant, if p is nearly constant over the region R, then you will have rho will be, in this rho, okay, it will be equal to, I mean closely equal to, so there is a yes, so it is equal to px into v. Okay, so v is the volume, px into v, where you could have where these things I'll just copy it, Control C, where these things px dash in the entire region px dash into dx dash. So you just replace rho with these things and you just take it, Control C. Yes. Okay, so it will be just where v is the volume of R, where capital V is the volume, VOLUME, volume of region R. Thus you will have px is क्या होगा बोलो, Px will be, thus you will have Px will nearly approximated to, it is approximated to, you have mass by volume. Okay, so now how many points? I mean, if the constants point, suppose that if you have this entire interval V, so I'm just going to apply the formula of the mass by volume. So you have simply have rho by just rho by capital V. Okay. So now if Px dash is constant approximation to the Px, then you could write Px is approximated to rho by V. It is just a mass by volume. Okay, so means that you split the x-axis into small intervals, and the data points or the feature points that you have in this feature space X, and if you somehow manage to have the functional approximation of these data points and compute the value, and if all the value in the small intervals are constant, then you can approximate x Px with this Px test. Okay, so that is the formula. So now suppose that is a very important things that I'm going to write. Suppose out of, because we are considering you have x, I mean you have the x feature vector which are having these n samples, x1, x2, x3 and xn. Now suppose out of n IID samples, independent and identically distributed samples. Suppose out of n independent and identically distributed samples, okay, k samples fall in the region R, okay, then k is a binomial that I have already shown the formula. Binomial, k is binomial with parameter, because we can easily, because why it is a binomial, so because these functions that you can approximate it from your data points, so that's why we are assuming it for the simplicity. This is a binomial. Okay, so suppose out of the n samples, k samples falls in the region when k is binomial, okay, with parameter n, and that is p, or you can simply have this rho. I should write n and rho. Okay, and since for large n, that is the very important thing. This is large number, because now if you have very large n, okay, I mean if you have this, the data points are very large. If you have this sufficiently large data points, okay, the actual term is that sufficiently large data points. So that's why since for large n, the binomial distribution, okay, that you are going to have. Okay, now this binomial distribution sharply peaks, SHARP distribution, DISTRI distribution, sharply binomial distribution sharply binomial distribution sharply peaks around its mean. Okay, it means that the binomial distribution for k peaks are very sharply above the mean, so that you could expect that the ratio k by n, so k by n means mass by volume. Okay, so in the region that how many data, if you have the k is sufficiently large and these points are used to construct the volume, so now, and that how many points are there in the constant interval, so that the function Px is approximated to P prime x. So now that's why that we expect that the ratio k by n will be a very good estimate for the probability rho. Okay, you're going to find, and because this integration of these terms is going to approximated by k by n. Okay, now we expect the ratio that you can write. We expect the since for this n binomial it subtly peaks around this mean, so we expect the ratio. So what is the ratio? K by n, that is a k divided by n. Okay, will be a very good estimate, will be a very good estimate for the probability rho. Okay, so for this probability, you can have rho, or you can simply have the capital P. Okay, for this probability rho, and hence for this smoothed density function, and hence for the smoothed density function. Okay, and this estimate is especially accurate when n is very large. So this estimate is especially accurate. Condition is that when n is sufficiently sufficiently large. Okay, then it means that you can have you can simply have, that is k is nearly equal to, now I'll have that is k is closely approximated to, you have the n into rho, that is simply you can have, where is rho, n into rho. Okay, or you can have rho is equal to I'll have, that is a rho is equal to sorry, rho is closely not is equal to, it should be closely approximated k by n. So that is the things that you can use, k by n. Okay, now if you just combine, okay, combining COMBI, combining the two we could get where that is a probability of x px, that is you just plug in this formula px, these things I'm just taking it, you could get probability of px, okay, rho by v, which is approximated to, that is k by nv, n into v. Okay, or in some books, I mean in the Rudart book, you can have, if you see this thing, px is closely approximated, okay, to simply k by n by v, that you can also write k by nv, or you can simply in the numerator you have k divided by n, in the denominator you can have the v, or you can simply have k by nv. So now this is, I'm just going to write one remarks on this thing, so that this is the basic idea. This is the basic idea of finding an approximation APPROXIMA. This is the basic idea of finding an approximation of f. Okay, at any x, we take a small volume. We take a small volume capital V around X, because we are considering that you have a region, so region is a sphere. So instead of taking sphere, you could take a hypercube, you can take the cube, okay, in this way. So at any X, we take a small volume capital V around X and just count the number of data samples that fall in this region. This gives approximated APPRO. This gives approximated value of Px shown in. Is that clear? Okay. So that is the very important thing, the basic idea that how to find an approximation of A. So at any X, it is just simply nothing but if you have we are considering this is an the like this density function. The one way to consider is the histogram method. Okay, for in the histogram you have the different bins, and for each bin how many data points that you need to have to construct this bin, and over the bins and this whatever histogram bins that you have developed, and if you have one functional approximation, so this functional approximation will fit this you can have this one envelope, density envelope, which fit this function. This is an histogram bins, and the data points, if all the data points that are going to consider, if it is lie, if it is false in this region, then you could derive that this gives the approximation value of Px. Okay, so now another thing, say how do you choose the volume V? Okay, so next question comes that choice of V, choice of capital V, it affects this quality of approximation. So now you'll have to choose the volume. How are you going to choose the volume? Choice of V affects the quality of approximation. Okay, and for the approximation that rho, you have approximation that is rho is closely, rho means actually it is a integration of r px dash dx dash. Okay, now you'll have small px into capital V. Okay, so now to be good, for the approximation to be good, we need V to be small. Okay? But if V is small, if V is very small, unless n is very large, then k may be 0 most of the time. That is this observations. If V is very small, until or unless n is very large, okay, then k may be 0 most of the time. So choice of size of V is a compromise. So now the choice of the size of V is a compromise between these two requirements. RE QEY RE. Okay. So now we are going to have some mathematical way. So this whatever we explained here, if A is very small, unless or only n is very large, so k may be 0 most of the time. So now you'll have to choose the size of V in such a way so that these two requirements must be met. Okay, we are going to have Vn denote the volume. Now we are going to have compute this, that is capital Vn. So Vn denote the volume when we have n examples, and let this function, which function, that is a Pn density function on x. Oh sorry, the x will be here. Okay, now this Pnx, and let Pnx and Kn and you have Kn denote the corresponding values. Okay, then for Fn is, I mean this Pn is tending to P. Okay, now here we need to have just different things. Now you are going to have, then for Pn is tending to P as n tending to infinity. As n tends to, you have infinity. We must have if n tending to infinity, okay, then we must have Vn tending to 0. You must have, that is a Vn tending to 0. You just see the formula. Okay, and if this condition is satisfied, if for Fn is tending to infinity, as if n tending to infinity, then Fn is tending to F, or Pn is tending to P. Now now Vn tending to 0. Okay, and if Vn tending to 0, we must have Vn tending to 0, and if Kn tending to infinity, then if you have Kn tending to infinity, if Kn tending to infinity, then what will be the value of Kn by K? N by K tending to 0. Okay. Now we need Vn tending to 0 to get this correct estimate. So these are the conditions under these circumstances. So you will get that Vn if you going to have, or if you need to have Vn tending to 0. Okay, if this condition is satisfied, Vn tending to 0, we need Vn tending to 0 to get the correct estimate. Right? Estimate. Now if now this correct estimate is that, so if px is not is equal to 0, I mean if your density function is not is equal to symbol, yes, then if px is not is equal to 0, as you can see, if px is not is equal to 0, then this rho value it is not is equal to 0. And hence kn tending to infinity, and hence n tending to infinity. Okay, so finally actually actually what we are going to do, that this pnx is to converge to px. So actually we are going to establish some condition. So the conditions are that the pnx is converged to px. So that is the main things. Okay, so pnx is converged to px with certain condition. Now we have only some finite data, and we need to choose v based on that. So now, so along these things can be summarized that if you can write pnx, these things, pnx, okay, is to converge to px, pnx is converged to px. So three conditions appear, three conditions are required to be met. Okay, so condition number 1 क्या है? First condition, that limit n tending to infinity vn is equal to 0, that we have already seen. If vn tending to 0, so vn tending to 0, then kn tending to infinity, kn by, if vn tending to 0, then kn by n tending to infinity, then kn by k tending to 0. Now first I'm just writing in a summarized way so that it will be more clear to all of you. Limit, where is limit? Yes, limit oh sorry, did not, yes, limit n tending to infinity, limit n tending to infinity vn is equal to 0. So whatever that I have explained, so it is just a summarization of that PNX. I mean, this functional approximation has to converge to PX if three conditions are required. First condition is limit n tending to infinity, Vn is equal to 0. Limit n tending to infinity, Kn is equal to infinity. That I have already written on. Then limit n tending to infinity. N tending to infinity, Kn is equal to, it should be Kn is equal to infinity. Third condition, this Kn by n is equal to 0. Limit n tending to infinity. These are the condition. That's it. Kn by n is equal to 0. Okay. Now, so now we have only, but in practice we have only finite data. So now in practice we have only finite data. Okay, and we choose size of V based on n. Okay, and if you have, then actually we have a choice, choice of two approaches. First approach, what is the first approach? We can fix a volume V and calculate K, which is known as fix V and calculate K, which is known as Parsons window. Parsons, you have this PARZEN, Parsons window, or it is known as kernel or kernel density estimate. Second thing is that we can fix K and calculate P, which is known as K nearest neighbor. K nearest NEIGHBOUR neighbor method. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, so now this condition, three conditions, whenever you are going to have to, this PNX is to be converged with PX, three conditions must be met. Okay, limit n tending to Vn is equal to 0, limit n tending to infinity Kn is equal to infinity, and then limit n tending to infinity Kn by n is equal to 0. And in practice we have only finite data, and you will have to choose V based on this n. Then these two approaches must be used. One is called the Parsons window, another is called the K nearest neighbor method. So now you in your first conditions, that is you can assure us that there's a I mean space averaged. Now whatever I am going to, I have explained you, so it is written over there. You have to estimate the ratio, that is a K by n. Okay, it is a good estimate for the probability P, hence for the density function. And if Px is continuous and the region R is so small that P does not vary significantly within it, then you can write that Px px dat dx dat is equal to px into v. So why I am writing px is v? So this is the thing. See, px is continuous function that the region R is so small and that p does not vary significantly. Then you can write in this way, where is a point within R and v is the volume which is being enclosed by v. Now if you just combining the equation 1, 3 and 5, 1, 3 and 4, you will have this k by n into v. So as you can see, it is a relative probability estimate that you can have from the equation 4, or actually it is a Dudhart book, k by n by v, or you can simply have k by nv. Okay, you can have very sharp peak that you can find this probability density, and this true probability was chosen 0.7, and if you have each curve is labeled by a total number of pattern, that is n sample, and you have to have a same maximum or same true probability, and the form of each curve is called the binomial as equation 2. For large n, if you choose this n is large, so such binomial speaks that strongly at the true probability. So the limit n tend into infinity, so the curve approaches to a delta function. So now you can guarantee that you will have a good estimate. So good estimate means that is a same as the your true probability. Okay, so now this is a justification equation that if px is equal to vx, now we assume that px is continuous, that region R is so small that p does not vary significantly since px is constant. Okay, it is not part of this sum, so you can see it. Okay, I'll share the ppt. Whatever I explained, then there is a concept, as I already told you. If you take R is a surface of the Euclidean space R square, it is called the volume. If you have a R cube, and if you have a hypervolume, then if it is a Rn. Okay, and since px is, so we have already established px is closely to px dash, it is a constant, so therefore in the Euclidean space R3 means in a volume that px dash dx dash is equal to px into v. That is px is, I have already shown, px is approximated to k by nv. That is the formula. Okay, and condition for convergence. So now what are the condition for convergence that I already written? That is a means what are the conditions that whether px is closely approximated to pnx. The fraction is a space averaged value. So space average means that if you have this x interval, I already told you in the previously that we cut the x-axis with small intervals and build a function. Okay, and if it is a constant for each of these intervals, then it is called, there is a certain space that is called space average value of px, and px is obtained only if v approaches to 0. So one condition is the limit n tending to infinity vn is equal to 0. Okay, now you can check. Okay, and this is this case where no samples are included in it. So it is an uninteresting case. Okay, so limit n tending to 0, k is not is equal to 0, then px is equal to infinity. So this estimate is diverges. Okay, so it is an uninteresting case. Now the volume v needs to approach 0. Okay, and anyway, if you want to use this estimation, then these are the observations that we already seen. Ultimately, you are going to have I mean, you have n number of observations. These observations are the independent and identically distributed, and in order to estimate the density x, you have a sequence of regions R1, R2, R3, and the first region contains one sample, second region 2 samples, so on, and where let Vn be the volume of the Rn, and Kn is the number of sample which falls in the Rn, and Pnx be the nth estimate. P1x is the first estimate of the region, P2x, then the Pnx is the nth estimate of Px. That's why Pnx is equal to Kn by n into Vn. So that is the thing that we have already seen. And these are the necessary conditions we should apply if you want Pnx is converged to Px. Okay, we have already seen. And there are two different ways for obtaining the sequence of region that satisfy the three conditions. So first one is you have to shrink an initial region. Okay, that I already told that string an initial region where Vn is equal to 1 by root n, and so that Pnx is a Px where n is tending to infinity, or you can have you calculate, or you can fix a V and calculate K, and which is known as Parson window. And another thing is that specify Kn as some function of n such that Kn is equal to root n, okay, and the volume Vn is grow until it encloses Kn neighbors of x, so it is called the K-nearest neighbor. So these things will not be clear now, so next class we will be discussing Parson window and this K-nearest neighbor. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. So I think this is a basic mathematics portion. So you need to be a little bit of understand the approximation, function approximations, and other things, and the histogram method. So whatever we have discussed, it is a single variable case, and if you have these more than one variables, then the things is more clear. Simply we are using the formula that density means mass by volume. That's it. Okay, but here is a different criterion that we are using. So now the book that you can see, I'm just also taking the things from the book of the Buddha. You can see the chapter number 4.2. Okay, so next class, so I'll be teaching you in 4.3 and 4.4. Okay, so